93, got that beat.
What's going on, family? It's your brother Lawrence here with another episode of Watch God Work. In every episode, we get the distinct pleasure and honor to speak to a brother or sister that's doing exceptional work in every field of human endeavor. And they share their God stories, the ways in which God has been at work in their life, and the ways in which God has been at work through their work. Yo, today, man, we got Detroit in the building. We got my brother, your brother, Travis Wilder. What's going on, King?
What up, though, Lawrence? How you doing?
What
bro?
up, though, man? I'm solid, man, and it's a different energy, man. And the reason why I say this is certain cities, I would say, in the United States, where there's a strong, what I call a native population, but also it's still kind of like we all we got type of energy, where it's kind of like, oh, where you at, Mac and Warren? I mean, there's different vibes about where people are coming from. And I'm like, there's Philly, Baltimore, New Orleans, Detroit.
I'm with you.
Detroit. And I remember coming down to Detroit, man, and having the best time of my life every single time. Got a lot of love. But the reason why I start this way is that I think when there is love that surrounds your community, when you come from love, you can only give love. And that's the story of your brand, of God Got Me, but it's not the only brand. So people are going to obviously hear that, right? But it comes from love. Something so simple to say, you know what? I just want people to be encouraged. I want these to be walking billboards that people could be reminded of. And especially in this past year, of what and this is evergreen, obviously, but in the past year of just being people going through so much and seeing things they've never seen before happen in their life, losing people, brothers and sisters, and God rest the soul, brothers and sisters who you've lost and I have lost. I think people need to get encouragement however they can get it. And so I thank you for the work of God Got Me, man. But I can't even do it full justice. But so how I'm going to start off with this, like, who is Travis Wilder, man?
Man, son of a king, man. First and foremost, man, it's not about the degrees. It's not about, it's not about me. You know what I mean? Travis is just a product of, born in Detroit, Michigan. My parents are pastors, Willie and Gloria Wilder, man. So I'm blessed to have them as parents. They'll be celebrating actually tomorrow, 49 years of marriage.
Yes.
So so big ups to my parents, man.
Shout out.
Yeah. So born in Detroit, man. They're originally from the South, small town called Roberta, Georgia. It's about an hour south of Atlanta, and grew up in the church. So all my life, man, mom, we didn't have a choice going to church when I was growing up. So, I got a relationship with God at an early age, man. And I'm so grateful now that I'm grown and I have a son and I'm raising him up the same way. He doesn't have a choice whether he needs to go to church or not. He doesn't have a choice about praying every morning, every night. So, man, I'm just a product of God, man. Through the vessels of my parents, hard working. I went to college in New York, upstate New York. So shout out New York, East Coast. That's like my second home, man. So I went to Elmira College in upstate New York. Got my bachelor's degree in business administration. I played college basketball for 4 years. And just got a love for people, Lawrence, man. I'm a people person. I love meeting new people, man. So when your people reached out to me, man, I was just elated, man. So first, before we really get going, thank you, brother, for the opportunity.
Oh, respect.
You pay homage to Detroit, man. I wear my city on my sleeve, man. So, next time you're here, man, definitely hit me up. We'll go break bread. We connected now, man. So bless you, man, for the work you're doing too, bro. So yeah,
man, I appreciate it, man. I always love people like this. Is a conversation, man, about just our life and work and just how God has been at work in that. And so I appreciate that, man, because it's just genuine. And that's what I felt, man. I mean, the natural question for me up front was just like, in your adult life, when did you realize? Clearly you had the foundation. Clearly 11, you like death, resurrection. I came out the water. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when did you realize in your adult life, tell me a story of when you realized that God really got me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, Lawrence. Man, I've seen a lot, man. Mm. You know, I've seen a lot, bro. Like I said, I was born in the inner city of Detroit, Michigan, West Side, 7 Mile in Southfield. So shout out the West Side of Detroit. My parents, particularly my dad, my mom and dad both retired from Ford Motor Company. You know, the big three, GM, Chrysler, and Ford. That's like it's a major hub here in Detroit. That's like that's where a lot of people, you know, make a living. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got a real strong automotive foundation here in the city. And so, you know, I grew up on the west side of Detroit. And when I was 7 or 8, my dad moved us right across 8 Mile over to the suburb called Oak Park, Michigan. And so that's kind of where I got my hard work, man. My dad, he just wanted a better life for us. And the city, it wasn't as bad as it is now. And I don't even want to say bad. I mean, every big city, you know, you have your stuff that goes on. But the city, it did start to get a little worse as I was getting older. And so my dad, he kind of wanted to get his family out of the city, and he moved us to the suburbs. And so I remember my dad, man, working so hard when I was younger. There was a lot of times I didn't see my dad for like a week. And that's not because he wasn't home in the house. It's because he was just working so much, grinding, man, to get us, you know, just to better his family and his life. And so like when I wake up in the morning, get ready for school, my dad he's already been to work for 3-4 hours. You know what I mean? Overtime. And then when I get home from school, and when I get ready to go to bed, he's still at work. You know what I mean? So I really shout out my dad for giving me that strong work ethic, you know, at an early age. I saw him grind, man. I saw him, he became an entrepreneur. He got really big, really heavy in the real estate game when I was younger. And he had up to like 8, 9, 10 houses at a time. So I saw how his landlord skills, his business acumen. And then my mom, she started her own ministry back in 2001. So I kind of was watching the behind the scenes stuff of how to, you know, just run business. And you know, we all know that the kingdom of God is business that needs to be had, you know, especially with the physical building with the church and things of that nature. And so, but yeah, to your original question, Lawrence, I didn't want to get off track, but like, man, I seen a lot, man. I had a lot of friends and some of them to this day are incarcerated. You know, I've had the opportunity to sell drugs, you know, to get in the street life. And just God had his hand on me, man. You know, and there was times where I was tempted to go to that lifestyle, man, because of, you know, the fast money and all the things that you hear about with that life. But God never let me stray away. You know what I mean? I've had friends and family members that got gunned down. You know, I just lost my little cousin, man, back in February. And
sorry, brother.
He was only 26 years old. So I'm just blessed, man. That could have easily been me. You know, I miss my little cousin every day, man. And it's just God, you know, God is the only thing that's gotten me through. Bro. You know, my family, it was a real big blow to my family, man. And I just stay prayed up, man. And just pray to God every day, and God's never left me or forsaken me, man. So I really, it's a no-brainer to who's kept me, you know, this 39 years of my life, man. God just always had his hand on me.
Bro, this is, I appreciate the first, God rest his soul, man. You know, it's a family member, but he's all our family. So we all lost somebody. Yeah. And so just we'll be praying for comfort and for your healing in that. But it's also, man, I think we take for granted. I think a lot of times we have these conversations about how God has works. And a lot of times people, you skip so many things and you're trying to go and think about, and I'm not saying it's any less vital to talk about how God has come through when you needed this loan, this thing happened, the business hit this number, but that's all God working, right? God, he's his hands in everything. But the basic fundamental fact that I woke up, breath, I got through my day, got home. Right. You know, back in the, I'll even use this, I think, for many people who you played ball back in the day. You were a baller, right? You know what I'm saying? I was a track guy. You know what I'm saying? But I played AU in middle school. And like, yo, even in playing, you know what I'm saying? You always felt like when you ever got the little hard pass, it gonna jammed your finger up. And you like, the time your finger jammed, you like, I should have appreciated the time when my finger wasn't jammed. You know what I'm saying? Like, right, you be mad appreciative, like, yo, dang, man, I appreciate this stuff. It's like, but that's like life, like you saying. It's like, yo, we take for granted God is at work. It's an active choice that he's kept me. And when I see so many people who I love and care for who have not necessarily been able to keep their life thing going. So I appreciate you kind of speaking to that. And I think in that mentality, what made you clear? Because in some sense, right, you're like, cool, I got kind of some of the Wall Street chops. You know, I studied for business. Did you have a sense that you felt a responsibility to come back to Detroit, right, to kind of start businesses and root? Because for some people, it's kind of like, all right, I have a foundation I build. What was your thought process? What was your conversation with God once you kind of like got the education? You're like, all right, basketball's not going to continue, right? I'm coming home. Was that even a decision or wrestle with God?
No, not at all, Lawrence. You know, I feel like I have an obligation, man. You know, I got two younger nephews. My oldest one, he just graduated high school last night.
Shout out.
Big shout out to Jaden, yeah, man. And it's an obligation. And like I said earlier, I have a 5-year-old son. And so I want to show these young brothers, man, that it's more than sports. You know, Lawrence, so we hear so much, man. It's with the inner city youth, it's either basketball, football, you know, going to the league or being a rapper. You know what I mean? And we really need to get back to telling these brothers, man, there's other avenues to get the bag, as they like to say. You know, go to college, get a degree. Even if you don't go to college, get a trade, man. You know, I know so many electricians and plumbers, skilled trades. You know, that's what my dad did it for. And you can make a good living doing that. And then, you know, I definitely wanted to just shine a positive light on my city too, man. I think Detroit gets a bad rap a lot of times. I remember when I came over to college in New York, people was looking at me like, you know, you from Detroit? And they was like, kind of like, dang, like, you know, like we didn't know successful people came from Detroit. That's kind of the vibe that I got a lot, you know, from a lot of people. But so, yeah, man, I just felt it was definitely my obligation. I definitely wanted to come back and rep my home city. So the brand, you know, being birthed here in Michigan was kind of a no-brainer. And my partner, Cornell, shout out to him. He's a native Detroiter as well, but he lives in Missouri now. He's a college basketball coach at the University of Missouri. So, yeah, we've always talked about, man, just upbuilding our hometown and just continuing to push the envelope forward here in Detroit.
Man, I love that, man, because I think, you know, even that, it's like for you, it felt this sense of responsibility. But I always say that in these times, we've become so individualistic. This sense of obligation seems like we're all free agents. There's not really any sense of anything, right? And that's why I think it is somewhat of a divine decision, and also a foundation to feel, or at least have that expectation set to say, you know, now I've gotten out to do this, but I have a responsibility to come back home and build up to prosper the city, you know, for all those things. Yeah. So even as I think about you building the brand and prospering the city, man, like I think people see God Got Me if they maybe are not even from Detroit, and that's maybe the first time they've interacted with your brand, your story. But, you know, spiritual socks. There was, you know, from a serious standpoint, you were building things. So when the first decision was made to kind of build, right? You know, so in some sense, you came back, got a great job. You know, you locking in that Quicken, handling business, and then there's a flip side of like, I want to start a brand, right? What was that first inspiration to say, I want to start with this versus that? Like, what was that first inspiration to kind of get you rolling and say, I'm gonna build a business around this? Yeah.
So you mentioned, Lawrence, that so we have another brand, my partner and I, called Spiritual Sports Socks. And this was birthed back in 2001. I was sleeping in my dorm room, and I had a dream. And in the dream, I saw socks. I saw the Lord, and then I saw sports. Obviously, my partner and I, we both played college basketball, been athletes all our life. And it was weird. The dream was weird, Lawrence. I didn't understand it at the time. And then, like I said, I have a business background. I always wanted to own my own business, just didn't know exactly what. So fast forward, 10, 11 years later, I come home. I had the same exact dream, man. Socks, spiritual, sports. And then it kind of clicked, So when I first had the dream, I do what a lot of us do when God speaks to us. I ignored it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then so fast forward, when I had that same dream, that vision, I knew it was then that, I need to do something with this. Guy's trying to, nudge me to go on and make something happen. So I got on the horn with my boy Corn, man. We established our LLC here in Michigan. We did all the background work. We got it trademarked. I started reaching out to manufacturers, started designing stuff, and we just jumped out there, man. And here we are. Fast forward, that was in 2013. We launched that. So yeah, 8 years later, we still rolling. And then in 2013 as well, we had trademarked the "God Got Me" slogan, but we just kept it on the shelf. We didn't really know what we wanted to do with it. Then boom, this pandemic hit. Me and Corn was talking. What better time to let people know that God got us? We seeing all these people dying, those numbers, man, of the cases, of the COVID cases and the deaths from COVID. And boom, man, we just dropped it, man, last May. And it's been going crazy, man. We blessed, man. It's like I said, you watch the videos and stuff, Lawrence. It's not about the money for us. We both have jobs, and we've been blessed in that area. So it's not about the money. It's about pushing the message. The money is just the blessings that God, that comes with just following God's instructions. You know what I mean? So that's why if you looked at the site, both our sites, our apparel is not expensive at all. You know what I mean? So we just pushing the message. We just pushing the message, bro. Real talk. It's about getting that message out there, giving people faith. We may be in dark times now, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And so we just pushing love and God, man. That's what we doing.
This is so dope, man, because I think business is hard, period. Business is hard. And, and I think when you get into business, sometimes it's kind of like chicken and the egg. I'd say this for me, going to business school, doing all that, is there a market for this? Is like, what type of research, what, other brand versus a thought process. And I'm not saying this is divorced from actually doing your due diligence to just make sure you're properly marketing and building a narrative. But there's something to be said about rooting your work around a need. Like literally you're saying, it's the pandemic. People need to hear this and see this message. So let's drop it. As opposed to, look at Instagram, all these brands are stopping with God. And I'm not saying that wouldn't be, I'm not saying it's completely like, I'm not saying there is a lot of, there's great to have opportunity, but I think that's refreshing for anybody to hear. All right. Especially this week, it feels like this theme has been service, that like getting back to the why behind why you create business is not evil. Business was about prospering the city. You're solving problems. It creates value. People see the value in that. They pay what that value is worth. And that continues to give lifeblood to the business so it can reach more people with the problem it's solving through the product it has. So I just think that's just, I just think this is gospel, for lack of a better word, for anyone in business. Most of the people who listen to this are executives. They're business people. There are a lot of people, many of them not Christian at all. And so I hear you. I think this is something that you got to hear, which is like, this was a need. And then look what's been happening as a result of it. Because some people argue that apparel business is hard, right? Especially when you take off, for example, you don't have, maybe not have brick and mortar. Right. And so now you're getting to a whole thing of saying, all right, I got to do Facebook ads, but I got to have a narrative. How do you know what's behind it? So even when you think about how you market, God got me, how you market, like spiritual sports, how did you think about that? How did your conversation, how did your faith inform how you thought about the marketing process and how to get the word out, the product out. Just walk us through what that looked like.
Yeah. So our marketing model is real simple, Lawrence. What we do, man, is in every package we give a personalized note to our customers, and then on the flyer, the literature that we send with our products, we just put, we appreciate you for shopping with us. We give a 10% off code for your next order, and then we also just let our customers know, post and tag us on social media at God Got Me Store. That's our handle on all our social media. And what that does is it basically creates kind of like walking billboards, because, we're in this social media digital stage anyway. Everybody always has their phone right there. And, this selfie generation we are, especially with the younger folks. So what that does is it builds a, like I say, it's basically our customers do the marketing for us. And then, our shirts are so affordable. I think we have, last time I checked, we have a 93% customer return rate. Last time I checked our numbers.
Wow. So
we have repeat customers. You know what I mean? We have our email blast list. We have our text message marketing. It's so easy now, Lawrence, to even run a business because you can do everything from these devices, man. And we do plan on getting a brick and mortar in the future. Obviously, as the pandemic, we our realtor is they send us listings every day. We're just waiting for the right opportunity. Because I still want a brick and mortar, because I get a lot of elderly folks who are not really computer savvy. They'll email us or call us and say, well, do you have a store? Because I don't really know how to order online and stuff. So we do want to reach those people. We're also in the process. I've been doing some market research on getting vending machines with our shirts in them. So you can literally walk by the vending machine, swipe your card, and it'll spit out just like, cans of pop and soda and candy bars.
Oh, bro.
And
you need to highlight Sister Dawn Dixon. We'll talk about that after. We'll connect after. Go ahead.
Okay. Cool, man. And so yeah, man, it's just innovative ways, man. Influencer marketing. I have a couple celebrities that we sent some packages to, and we're gonna be doing some campaigns like that. Man, we have a whole bunch down the pipeline, man. We're doing a fraternity and sorority collection with all the fraternity and sorority colors.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Noops, man. Shout out to the Noops. Anyway, go ahead.
There you go.
Let me not start no beef on here.
My wife is an AKA, so I dropped the pink and green hoodies back in the wintertime, and those went crazy, man. Like we couldn't keep those, man. The pink and green.
You definitely did. You timed that right around the inauguration. You're like, see, this is what we're about to do.
Exactly.
He know what up.
So yeah, Lauren. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, right when the campaign started, I said, you know what, Kamala is an AK. So we put her face on some marketing stuff, man, and it's just being creative, man, and innovative, man. Like 313 Day, that's the Detroit area code. 313 Day, it's like an annual Detroit holiday. On 313 Day, we did $3.13 shirts for 3 hours and 13 minutes. And it went crazy. Like the website almost crashed. It was like the orders was coming in left and right. So we just get creative, man. And like I said, it's not about the cost. We don't like to overcharge. We keep it affordable. Our method is we want to get it out to as many people as possible to really push the brand forward. So
this is dope, man. Yeah, I'm grateful you brought up your wife, man, because the reason why I'm so intrigued by stories unlike yours, but like yours, meaning that, there's no one like you, but someone who is building multiple businesses, but has family, not a but, has family, loves God, has children. And then at the same time, you're building multiple businesses. I think in this time is the gift and the curse. The gift is that right from your phone, you could do whatever you need. The curse is right from your phone, you connected to everything you got to do. And so how has God helped you navigate just the dashboard of life of like, I got these businesses, I got multiple balls in the air. I got people I got to make sure I'm servicing, taking care of. I got a wife I got to make sure that I'm taking care of well, blah, blah, blah. So how do you manage that with God? Like, what does that structure look like to make sure that you are in a sustainable rhythm for all the things that are important to you?
Yeah. Great question, man. And I answer this question the same time every way because it's true. I tell everybody when I do podcasts and interviews, before I'm a businessman or anything else, I'm a husband and a father. And so it's all about prioritizing, Lauren. So, work my regular job, 9 to 5, come home, and it's family time. Dinner with the family, take Maverick out, play basketball with him, let him ride his bike. We get him down to bed, try to spend a little time with my wife. She works too and has her side business. So it works well. Sometimes I'm sitting up on the iPad, she's on the laptop, and that's our little bonding time. But it's hard, man, because, I still need to sleep. I'm not as young as I used to be, so I can't, stay up all night.
Don't claim it, man. Don't claim it.
Right. Yeah. Forever young, right? But, yeah, man, it's just prioritization, man, and then once I do the family time, I go down to my home office and just I try to knock out at least 2 hours worth of work on my businesses every night. Because if I can give a corporate company 8 hours a day, I can for sure give my brands at least 2 hours a day. So it's just prioritizing, man. I still try to get date nights in, pretty frequently with the wife. We plan, we used to, before the pandemic, man, we were big travelers. So now that the world's opening back up, we got a family trip coming up in a couple of weeks, and then her and I are we heading out west, out to Cali for her birthday next month. And then we're going to do something for our anniversary. So it's just prioritizing, man. Just, doing my due diligence as a father and husband. And then after I fulfill those, then I'm the businessman. It's just like anything else, man. You make time for what's important to you.
Hey, man, I love this, man, because, and I think this is particularly relevant. Because I think when you're talking about faith, it's not just that the brand is rooted in faith, right? But when you talk about faith, sometimes it could be having, I call like an amplifier effect, the battery effect, which is if it's a faith, sometimes the view is that you got to completely jump out the window. And what I mean by that is that, you're as someone who's managing multiple businesses, but you still, still hold a 9 to 5. Whereas a lot of people feel that God has called them, they have a vision to kind of build something. And it's just like, sometimes the inherent view is that if this is only real if I jump out the window fully and I'm doing this full time, which is, I think sometimes it bucks against the maybe assumption that you could be faithful in something reasonable while still doing something that, is helpful. So for you, was it an issue of utility? Was it like, I'm doing something, this is a lot more stable and my businesses, they do well, but not enough to support me? Or like they could support me, but this is something I actually love and enjoy, and I think God has called me to both. Like, how did you navigate the decision-making process? What that looked like for you?
Yeah. So you know what it was, Lawrence? It was I read a book, man, called The Power of Broke by Damon John.
Oh yeah.
And excellent book, man. Any entrepreneurs watching this, I highly suggest it. So when he started FUBU, him and this guy started FUBU. I think for the first 3 to 5 years, I believe, he was working at Red Lobster when he launched that brand. And so, it was like, okay, that was all I needed to hear, because I look at him as like one of my business mentors. I respect the businessman he is and what he's created for himself and his family. And I'm like, well, if Damon John can work a regular job while he's building this brand, so can I. You know what I mean? And he said, you'll know when it hits a certain point where it's just unbearable, where you literally can't work and do your side businesses at the same time. You know what I mean? So I'm still trying to find that fine line. I don't know. I have some pretty good systems in place right now to where I'm able to do it. My wife, she does a lot of the shipping for me, packaging and shipping. And then, like I said, with the technology, man, I can do all my marketing and social media stuff, answering emails and everything right from the palms of my hands. So, yeah, it's been pretty easy to juggle, the corporate life and the entrepreneur life right now. And I don't know when it's time to step away and do it full time. But and to your point, I do love what I do as well. I've been working in mortgages since I graduated college in 2004 for the most part. And so I do enjoy what I do, my 9 to 5 as well.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's the question would be like, now that when you have a brand that's rooted, with such a very clear, but, I think powerful, God got me, which is, I think, something that from our culture, we know what that means. What does that how does that affect your creative process? Is it that, it's, you don't have to put any trade secrets out here. So sorry, but is it that, what the apparel is what expands the message that block doesn't change versus, we're not constrained to this and we could flip it up versus just to the extent that you could share, how do you think about creative product line? Because obviously this is still fresh, this is a pandemic and the like.
Oh yeah.
But how do you think about that prayerfully?
Yeah, man. So I look at my brand already as being on the likes of like your Nikes, some of your top brands. So I just look at some of the stuff that they do and I mimic that, but with God got me. So for instance, I'm a sneakerhead, man. I got pretty much every Michael Jordan shoe that came out and the different colorways and all of that. Yeah. So after we drop this fraternity and sorority line, we're going to do probably in the middle of the summer, we're going to drop a sneakerhead collection where we're going to have the different color combinations to match all the different shoes. And I think that's going to be huge because we've already got a lot of inquiries about, oh, man, I got these new Jordans, man. I need it in this colorway. I need the North Carolina colors. I need the black and blue for Duke. I need, So yeah, man, I look at a lot of other brands and then I just put my twist on some of their creative works. And creativity, man, it has no limits and bounds. I mean, I have an idea to do a neon collection. I mean, it's endless, man. So it's really no boundaries on creativity. You just, whatever comes up in your mind, some of the stuff might sound crazy, but the crazy stuff ends up being what really sells. So me and my partner Corn, man, we talk every day, a couple times a day. Even if we can't talk, if something pops in our head, we'll text each other, we'll put it in our database and then we'll talk about it later on. And and that's the beauty too, Lawrence, of having a partner, man. Like some things I bring to Corn, he might not necessarily agree with and vice versa, but we're a partnership. We just put it out there to see how it does anyway. And so yeah, it's good. 2 brains is definitely better than 1, man. And we just bounce different creative things off of each other. And then the main thing, we pray. Corn, we pray together, man. If we're going through something, we'll pray together. If we need to touch and agree on something, most importantly, we pray and ask God to direct us. This is
very helpful and very practical because I think there have not been many businesses thus far, how many partnership-based businesses, though you maybe have lawyers that have been part of partnership in structure, but, but no, number one, I was kind of like 2 is better than 1. We understand that scripture, right? Of that, kind of not easily broken from a marriage perspective, but from a business perspective, I think a lot of wisdom would share that it's just so much easier to divide the load mentally. Right. But ultimately, the gifts that you both bring to make it better. But second, to your point, that also being a superpower that people don't really sometimes forget, which is like that prayer, not even just design, but prayer to even find alignment to deal with the things of the business, which everyone understands with business, man, it could be very volatile. And so the fact that you on that is real. There's something about brothers owning businesses that I think hits me. I think people are talking about in this time, we're in a season when people talk about Tulsa, right? They're talking about a lot and how powerful ownership is. And in some sense, even biblically, when we think about just the restoration of the land, how important these things are, this was something that was imbued in you very early, right? And I think thanks to your father, and your parents, kind of you kind of had a pride in that. Is that partly your view of like, is in sense, I'm not only creating something that's temporal, meaning that you're going to get motivation and encouragement when you see it, but that I hope that as an institution, these brands are things that are ours, that represent hope as a business. Like, how do you think about the businesses you're building now and the fact and your ownership of it and what that means in terms of what you do, through the end of your career?
Yeah. Well, ownership is everything, Lawrence. We've like you say, these times we're in, man, with this month with Juneteenth and the racial divide of our country, just everything that's been going on, man. You look at, I think Forbes came out with billionaire list a couple weeks ago or something, updated billionaire list, and it was like no blacks to be found. You know what I mean? It's very important for us to start embedding in our minds that we can, people of our color can be the next Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and those type of guys. My dad embedded ownership into me, man, at an early age. I always tell this story, man. When I got home from college, and I started, I got my first corporate job. I was making good money at 22 years old. And I talked to my dad, and I'm like, Dad, I want to get an apartment. And he was like, nah, you ain't getting no apartment. You're not renting. You're gonna stay here with me and your mom, stack your bread up, and you're gonna buy your first house. Mm-hmm. So he embedded in me at an early age to never want to rent or lease anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I know that works for some. I'm not, knocking anyone who does it, but it's just that principle that my dad embedded in me. Now it's something that I want to pass down to my son. Mm. I have a rental property that I own free and clear, thanks to my dad, you know what I mean? And it's that ownership principle that he embedded in me at an early age. Like I said, I want to pass it down to my son and just teach him about owning something and building assets. And my partner as well, Corn, man, he owns a couple properties. And we're talking about some other entrepreneurial endeavors outside of spiritual sports socks and God got me. Mm-hmm. That we have some other ownership ideas of just owning, man, giving back and teaching. Mm-hmm. We want to teach what God has given us as well. Mm-hmm. And so we talked about doing workshops and just things to help our community. Just to get them in the mind frame of wanting to own things and be your own boss, essentially, because a lot of people, man, Lawrence, especially, kids and young brothers in the inner city, we just grow up with the mentality of always just, it was bred in us to go to school, get your degree, and then get a job working for somebody else, going to corporate. But it was never those ideas that you had when you were younger in high school. Why not teach people to start working on that at a young age? You know what I mean? My son, man, he loves cars. He a car fanatic. He can tell you to make him out of any car riding down the street. So as he grows, I'm going to tailor him to the automotive, if it's engineering, if he wants to design vehicles or something, whatever it is, I'm going to start his entrepreneurial path right away at a young age, because who knows in 10, 15 years what that could turn into, man. So it's just something that, my dad, ownership has always been real big for me, man. And like I said, I got to credit my dad for putting that in me at an early age.
Yo, I think sometimes we have incomplete conversations about ownership because I think people just think of it as a pride move or a clout move, or people put the other side of it, which is necessarily the extreme, which is almost like ownership is like makes you better than people who don't own. No, I think the point is, right. One, I think there has been an inequity over time. Yes. Right. And absolutely. So there's still a debt on the balance sheet of equitable businesses that serve communities, because businesses have cultures, they have a mindset, they have an ethos and a culture. And I think there's not many that reflect us, which is why you see the lack thereof of people in positions creating products and services that actually serve Our communities, right? So there's one.
Absolutely.
2, the jobs
Absolutely.
and things that are created. 3, the symbol of seeing ownership to say, we can, if you are called and designed to be someone who does build a business, not everybody's called to that, you won't be dissuaded when you see brothers and sisters doing it. And I think the thing that, I'm soaking this all up, because like I said, I'm always in this first seat of the auditorium when we have these conversations. I just love the beauty of brothers doing things together, man. Like, when you even just learn about you and Corn, the fact is, it's kind of like you sharpen an iron. And so that God is working through you, working with other people. He works on you. He works on, oh man, I didn't think about that. Oh man, he got this. So if he got this, man, maybe I should think about me getting another property, or let's do another business together. Yeah. All these business things help people. So I just think that expanding the conversation on ownership, to think like, look at the side effects of this. Yeah. Right. For generations, for generations coming after you, from even through your son, to generations of those who will be employed, who will experience it, who will see you, So, bro, like, I can't even, man. You and I talked offline. I just, this is not going to be the only conversation you and I have.
Oh, no, not at all, man.
But I have so much great respect for just the mindset, the ethos that comes to the brand you're creating, the businesses you're doing. It's just refreshing, because I don't think people hear enough about that, and how God flows all the way through it, and how he frames how you think about things. But man, like, when people think about what's coming next, you kind of gave us some teasers about from a God Got Me standpoint with this summer. But what do you have coming up, and how, and in terms of like, how people can support you in that? And then 2, how do people connect with you most easily?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So, Lawrence, we're going to keep dropping heat, man. Like I said, we got a couple new collections coming out this summer. Then we got some new things coming for the winter, a couple jackets and coats. We're expanding, man. We did a little bit. We dropped the kids line, and it did really well. So, and people been hitting us up about that too. So we're going to get some more kids items. And then the socks, spiritual sports socks. We got some other things coming with that, man. We do a lot of we just did some youth football socks for a team here in Detroit. And then every October, I want to make sure I mention this, Lawrence, on the sock front, we give away hundreds of socks to the homeless people. Good friend of mine, Erica, she runs an awesome organization here, man, called One Mother to Another. And she gives her whole organization is about helping homeless people, man, and being an outlet for single moms. It's off the chains, man. So we donate hundreds of socks to her organization every October. She runs a campaign called Socktober. And so we donate socks to them. And then the best way to connect with us is, can you still hear me, Lawrence?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay. At God Got Me Store. That's GODGOTMESTORE. That's on all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. At God Got Me Store, all one word. And then the website is www.godgotmestore.com. Again, that's www.godgotmestore.com. Hit us up, man. Look, if it's an item you see that's sold out, we're always restocking. If it's a color combination that you want, like I said, we coming with different colors this summer. Just drop us an email. We're going to start doing testimonials from some of our customers, probably monthly, just to share how God has had people, because we all get strength through testimonies, right? That's one of my favorite parts of church, man, is listening to how God has worked through other people. So we got that initiative coming out, man. And again, we got a brick and mortar that's going to be on the horizon here as the pandemic comes to the close. And just a lot, man. Just follow us on social media. We're always updating, and we're just gonna keep growing and building this thing, man, brick by brick.
Brother man, and we call co-laborers, man. As you build, we will
Absolutely.
build. As you build, we will build, man. Brother, I'm so thankful for you, man. I'm thankful for you, your partner, Corn. I'm thankful for your parents, thankful for your wife, your son. Like I'm just thankful for you and what you're putting out in the world to help people and to encourage people, especially in times like this. And, and though it may linger, I think like the wait for it, revelation, I think for people are waiting for better. They're waiting for the promises they had in this difficult time. And I think that you are answering a lot of prayers by just getting encouragement in ways, because there's things that people see, they swipe to that discourage them, but them to be reminded to look up and that things are looking up is something that God got them, is something that is real. And so, brother, man, I got so much respect for you. I'm so thankful for this, man. I'm looking forward to our next conversation, man. But just either way, just thank you so much for sharing your God story, King. I appreciate it, man. Salute.
Appreciate you, bro. And like I said, Lawrence, next time you plan on coming to Detroit, man, hit me up, dinner on me, man. We'll break bread and we'll fellowship some more, man. It's been a pleasure, my brother.
Most definitely. I'm of my word, man. I'm looking forward to it, King. All right. Salute.
No doubt.